A string of vicious weather phenomena fueled by global warming and climate change is sweeping across South Asia. The most notable of it is the retreat of glaciers, flooding, and even landslides. The toll and the impact, in short, is not favorable for the entire region. Here's a look at this alarming story.
The story of Nepal extending into Bhutan, little spoken about but increasingly real. Nepal has been seeing major disasters around glacial melting almost every consecutive year since 2012. The country contributes just 0.027% of global greenhouse gas emissions, yet it is the fourth most vulnerable to climate change. Rising temperatures spell disaster. Glaciers across South Asia's Hindu Kush Himalayan belt, covering 6 countries, are melting at unprecedented rates.
Well, this is a very serious threat. You know, I've called climate change a threat multiplier for some time now, and we really see that happening in the Himalayas with the more rapid melting of the glaciers, creating glacier lakes leading to floods and landslides, really changing the whole ecosystem of the region at a rate that's difficult for humans to adapt. You know, the Himalayas are so important to both global ecosystems, global biodiversity, and of course the people who live in the region.
Grim climate change and warming realities stare and hard. A mountain tourism-based economy like Nepal's is already showing signs of an impending setback. Changing snowfall patterns means uncertainty on tourist inflow. Beyond the blow to biodiversity and agricultural losses, a report by Nepal's International Center for Integrated Mountain Development warns that Himalayan glaciers disappeared 65% faster since 2010 than in the previous decade. Mount Everest's glaciers have lost 2,000 years of ice in just the past 30 years. At present rates of temperature rise, glaciers across the entire region will lose 30 to 50% of their volume by 2100, the report says, and that these changes are largely irreversible. It warns of an increased frequency of flash floods and avalanches if greenhouse gases are not sharply reduced.
The increased extreme events are already baked in because of the temperature rise we've already experienced from climate change, approaching well over a degree, and in some parts of the world, like in the Arctic, over 4 degrees now from baseline temperatures. So we have to change our energy systems, reduce our reliance on fossil fuels, and at the same time, we have to become more resilient to the climate risks we experience today.
The most dangerous outcome of heavy glacial melting in the plains. Water flows in the region's 12 river basins, including the Ganges, Indus, Satluj and Mekong in India and Pakistan, hold consequences for more than 1.65 billion people who depend on this supply. In the mountains, landslides have turned more frequent, disrupting life, wreaking havoc. Himachal Pradesh and Uttarakhand are the most recent examples. Himalayan communities are feeling the effects. Cracks on roads and houses in Joshimath in India's Uttarakhand have raised big concerns. Many residents in the sinking town had to be relocated. Corrective action has been initiated, but it's a big wake-up call.